For those who just skimmed the surface or never actually heard about this game, Foxhole is this massive war game run by players that lasts until one side gets the upper hand and is able to carry out a win. Victory is determined by the capture of the majority of standing victory towns. And I say standing because players can nuke them. Yeah, nukes. For context, imagine an RTS game themed around the first half of the 20th century. You have to build up your areas, deploy your troops, research new tech, eventually unlock better weapons and tanks and variations of said tanks, concrete bunkers, bases, naval power, all the way up to large battle tanks, massive artillery, and nukes to drive your opponent back and eventually win the war. That's Foxhole. But every little soldier on the battlefield is a player. These players organize themselves in regiments, build bases, help their faction farm resources, produce weapons and ammunition, run big tank companies, artillery teams, sabotage groups, you name it. Even full-on production and supply chains from the scrap they farm to the storm cannon they fire at the enemy. Everything is player-made, from the bullet you fire from your gun to the truck you use to get to the front lines and the massive bases you spawn at when you die. And I mean everything. It's this massive and extremely immersive world where everyone has the chance to matter to the war effort. And look, I'm not overselling this here. There is literally something for everyone to do or be. Are you a base builder? Well, welcome to the world of massive bunker bases equipped with everything from supplies to the grunts spawning to anti-tank weapons and massive artillery pieces used in the defense of it. Are you more of a farmer? Excellent. Go out on your truck, farm resources, and manufacture goods at the industrial facilities to go to the front lines. But I'm more of a truck simulator kind of guy. Is there anything for me? Oh, yes, there is. Bienvenue to War Logistics, where everything from bandages to building materials and even full-on tanks and howitzers have to be taken from the production centers in the back all the way to the people fighting at the front. This is done over a network of roads with trucks, train networks built by players, or massive cargo ships full to the brim with containers of everything the boys at the front need. But I'm a Chad operator. I want to click heads and put my enemies in the dirt. Good. The war effort always needs grunts to do the dirty work of actually fighting. And here, you will have everything, from rifles, sniper rifles, pistols, SMGs or assault rifles, portable 50 cals and rocket launchers, mortars, multiple calibers from 9mm to massive 200+ caliber cannons. It's all there. You see, this game offers something for everyone, literally everyone. And it should be massive considering it's a one-time purchase game. But, like any other game, there are a few problems. Some are caused by the players, others by the game itself. So let's get to the main reasons hindering this game's growth. The dual faction problem. Here, it's all down to the players. So, there are two factions fighting to win, Wardens and Colonials. The problem here is, people will pick to play on the faction that wins. Well, some people. They get tired of trying things and failing, and this is true for any game where you follow the meta, but here they have a choice of faction. Why put my hours into playing a losing battle when I can just win by switching sides? Well, the problem is that degenerates to all the unaware or innocent new players being placed on one faction because the other one is full of experienced players and regiments who enjoy seal clubbing. The multiple shards problem. Let's say they acknowledge the first problem and decide to open two worlds or shards so new players can go play on the second, less experienced shard, and the first shard becomes the more experienced shard. Well, they tried it multiple times and it keeps backfiring tremendously. And again, because of the players. On these occasions, one shard became the Warden shard, where more experienced Wardens would noob stomp new quality players, and vice versa. So the experienced players of each faction split into both shards to enjoy their seal clubbing. The experienced player retention problem. This problem is a little more complicated because although there is a rank system to point out the more experienced players, the system in itself is extremely flawed. It's basically a logi farm grind that most players do. You see, players rank up with commendations or commands, and these commands are given out by other players. Well, the easiest way by far to earn commands is to do logi, running a truck back and forth from the front lines to the supply depots, hauling stuff every few minutes and farming those commands up. In essence, it then makes the rank system say absolutely nothing about the true experience of these players, since most of them are just logi farming commands. This needs to be addressed, and people should have a real connection between rank and knowledge. Building should be XP based and grant commands. Same for fighting and other activities, but with a limit. Say the rank system is equivalent to an XP system and you need 1 million XP to get the maximum level. Now you set limits with diminishing returns. Then you separate it into different activities players get commands for. Commands for logi can only grant a maximum of, let's say, 200,000 XP. Then it gives you nothing. Building another 200,000, and so forth for kills, gathering resources, etc. Then, if you would actually see a general on the battlefield, you would know this dude did it all to the max. That player is truly experienced. This change would add value to true game knowledge and make players feel more rewarded by their ranks, instead of just grinding one activity to higher ranks. And then maybe do like Tarkov and have the commands progression displayed on our player profiles, with where we got commands from in different types, like rows with medical, artillery, logistical, gathering, tanking, stuff like that. It should be too much work to display that. We need to be able to trust the rank displayed on a player, and that player should be proud of the rank they have. But right now, it's not trustworthy at all. I have seen higher ranks do the most absurd and crazy shit possible, from wasteful 1v8s in tank battles to upgrading bunker sections to wet concrete while under direct artillery fire. And a colonel did this. I purposefully didn't go into the regiment command farming because I can't see a way to mitigate that without hurting players that actually work for their regimental given commands. The experienced regiment retention problem. Here it's more of a shared problem. The gist of it is, nothing stops regiments from hopping around and making a new regiment on the winning side. Nothing stops them from moving shards and creating the multiple shard problem. And nothing incentivizes them to stay and try again on the next war, or even to tough it out for the whole duration of the war. Combined with the experienced player retention problem, and goodbye tough, long-fought wars. Here's a few ideas. Create a regimental loyalty program. Regiments would be able to sign up for this and devote themselves to one faction forever. This could be attributed by achieving a login goal with some others, like create a regimental base with a minimum of 25 points of concrete, have a minimum of 25 players, and have at least 5 active players every day for the entire previous war. The completion of these or other goals would grant the regiment their own flag, their own soldier and officer uniforms, within reason of course, and a true warden or true colonial regimental tag. Something to denote the regiment's dedication to their chosen cause. The game needs something to stop faction hopping and incentivize dedication, because most wars are sadly reduced to one side fielding just more experienced players than the others by the end of it. And it only depends on how it's going. If one side is losing, the more experienced players leave, the more they lose, so the snowball gets bigger and inevitable, with a few notable exceptions of a handful of comeback wins. They really need to figure this one out, because at the tail end of most wars, it just feels like one side has all the regiments working and the other side barely has any of them on. Now, like most games, there are balancing issues, but I won't get much into it. Like everyone, some devs have favorite factions, wink wink. So all we can do is provide feedback and hope for the best. To conclude, Foxhole is an amazing game with a dedicated player base, immersive atmosphere, and deep mechanics. It genuinely has something for everyone. Whoever you are, there is something in this game for you. So if you're wondering what game to try next, give this one a shot. Like a proper one. Learn the basics, do the home region tutorial stuff, watch some tutorial videos, or just ask in-game for help. Most folks will help. The others are just too busy or too much of a bitch, so don't worry about those. Just don't stick with doing just one thing when you start. Honestly, just go do a little of everything. Get scrap, make some things in the factories, assemble a tank, do logi in the front lines, medic, build stuff. Really try things out. There are a lot of players that really don't fight that much and run backline stuff all day and chill. Find your thing, because there is something in this game for everyone. So how about yourself? Do you play Foxhole? Are you going to? Do you see other areas for improvement in the game? Leave it in the comments below. Just please be respectful. Leave a like, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.